Do you remember Tom from MySpace? If you're a lot younger than me, then probably not. It was the original social network before Facebook, and Tom was the guy who made it. You haven't heard much from him in a long time because he sold MySpace for $500 million and then disappeared from public life. Unlike Mark Zuckerberg, who was offered $1 billion for Facebook and refused to sell it. Now, if you were to live for another 100 years, $500 million would be over $10,000 a day, and that's not even including interest. And that is more than enough money to pretty much spend the rest of your life doing whatever you want. And from what I can gather, that seems to be what Tom did with it. Like, it seems that he just travels the world and has taken up photography as a hobby. Mark Zuckerberg, on the other hand, I don't think is a very happy person. Same can be said about Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. They have more than enough money to pursue a perfectly content life, and yet they instead choose to pursue more wealth and more power. And more often than not, at the expense of everyone else on this planet. I don't think that's very healthy. I've seen it portrayed that it's somewhat inspiring that Mark Zuckerberg chose to not take the money, but I don't think we should look at it that way. I think what Tom did is what any mentally healthy person would do in that situation. I think most people, if given the choice between having a very high quality of life and never having to work again, or continuing to amass more power and more money, would pick the former. And it really does seem like Tom is the happier person of the two. Like, he's not hiring professional stylists to try and convince the world that he's cool. He's not being dragged in front of Congress. People are making memes of him saying he's a robot. I don't know what he's doing, because clearly he doesn't need the whole world's attention just to feel content. Zuckerberg, Musk, Bezos, all of them could at any point sell all their assets and just live comfortably, happily, for the rest of their lives, and yet they choose not to. They keep choosing more power and more wealth because it's never going to be enough for them, because no amount of power and wealth will ever fill the void in their hearts. Now, if you follow me, you know I only really ever use this account to promote my indie game, which is playing up there. And if you don't, and the algorithm just served you up this video for some reason, and you don't much care for indie games, sorry to bother you, the algorithm does what the algorithm does. But for those who want to stay around, the reason I'm talking about this is because it's a really big part of the backstory of Later Skater. While not exactly a very story-heavy game, I would in fact say it's a story-light game, I do want to at least provide a little bit of something if you look for it. The main collectible in my game is CDs, and every time you collect one, you can go into the menu and read a little bit of text, and the text just sort of explains the backstory of how the world got into the situation that it is in. And in short, the reason robots decided to go and kidnap everyone from all of history is because of billionaires with big egos. You might even notice that some of those fictional billionaires are very much inspired by some of the real ones. But anyway, I don't consider myself too much of a storyteller, so really it's just there for a little bit of flavor and maybe an occasional chuckle. If you want to check it out, there's a demo available on Steam, and I'd also really appreciate a wish list. And if I get a lot of wish list, I'll get a lot of sales. If I get a lot of sales, I make a lot of money. If I make a lot of money, well, I could keep making indie games at a comfortable and sustainable pace, rather than use my wealth to make the world a worse place for everyone else. I'm just kidding, of course. Indie games don't actually make money.